Good morning, everyone. Good evening and good afternoon to viewers from all walks of life. This is nikymus, and you are welcome to the channel of truth, enlightenment, freedom, and the channel of breaking empath free. If you are new on this channel, I talk about narcissism and narcissistic abuse. I talk about spirituality, and I talk about personal and self-development. And if any of that resonates with you, I invite you guys to join us, give us a like, share this video with friends, and you may subscribe if you haven't already. And for those that have always been with us, you are welcome back. And I thank you for your love and support. Now I'm going to talk about today, I'm going to talk about the mask sleep. That moment when the narcissist mask will sleep, okay? So, a lot of times people find it difficult to explain to other people that they are going through abuse, or most likely that they have just uncovered or unmasked a narcissist, okay? So it's going to be very difficult for you. You cannot convince your family, you cannot convince your brothers. If you have been a black sheep of the family, you cannot actually convince your father, your brothers that you have unmasked a narcissistic father. You cannot convince anybody in that unit. Nobody will believe you. If it has been your partner, a relationship, or a friend, you cannot convince the people around you that you have unmasked a narcissist. So the mask sleep is an event which happens in a split second. So this thing happens, I think the mask sleep, if it has really happened, I'm talking about the real mask sleep. For a lot of, many of us who have got the gifts, we have seen, okay, that mask sleep. It can only happen to particular individuals. There are some individuals who have been blessed with a particular set of eyes that are able to see this event, okay? So the mask sleep is for an empath with that particular gift, for example. It is that event which is happening to help you look behind the veil, okay? So behind the person that you've been dealing with this entire time. So the reason why you see a lot of times people are talking about the black eyes, people are talking about that old lady, that old man they saw, that beast, you know, that face shape-shifting and everything. A lot of people who have experienced that event. They have been blessed with a specific type of eyes, okay? So not everybody can see this. This event only happens between two people. It can happen between that demon you're dealing with and the person who has been the victim, okay? If it has happened, for example, online, maybe you have been watching somebody for a while and you've probably unmasked them or discovered that they probably were narcissists. It doesn't really matter if that person has got a whole thousands and thousands of followers. And those people have unmasked, like we've seen a lot of times on this channel. Sometimes we've been unmasking a lot of these people online, okay? Even if the person has got a lot of followers, that particular moment you mask that person, it is going to be only you that will see it. I'm finding the best ways to describe this. That event cannot happen between 2, 3, 4 people. Nobody or people can experience a mask sleep simultaneously at the same time. If you've been watching something online, a person online, maybe that person is a narcissist, covert narcissist, okay? So for example, there are these fake coaches and whatever. And many people are watching that video of that person. Only one person will be able to see that mask sleep at a given time. So you are not going to experience that event in the same moment. So for example, let me give you an example. If 2 or 3 people are watching something online, when that thing happens, only one person can be able to see it in that given split second, in those particular 2 or 3 seconds. They may see it and the other person may see it in the next couple of seconds. So you cannot experience this thing simultaneously at the same time in the same place. Okay, so this thing happens usually between the victims and the abuser, but it only happens for one particular set of eyes at a given time. So this thing is bringing you into, it's like a glitch. So this thing happens, psychology will not really explain to you properly this event. This thing is like a glitch. It just happens whereby you tap into the spiritual dimension of things, the spiritual world that you were never ever aware of before, okay? So you tap into that world in the split of a second. So most of the times that mask slips helps you to identify which particular set of demons you've been dealing with, okay? So that's the reason as to why you hear a lot of times, a lot of empaths have experienced that event. So they have seen that shift in the person that they've been dealing with for this time. So normally when that thing happens, the event of the mask slip happens and you see that person, okay? So your father, I don't know, your mother, or whatever, whoever's been tormenting you over these years, because I've told you guys already, you've been a victim of abuse, and over these last periods of years, couple of years, you've been dealing with spiritual warfare. So you've been attacked spiritually. Although you could have seen it manifest physically, your father could have been saying very, horrible things to you or treating you in a certain way. But there's been a spiritual battle happening behind the scenes that you were not usually aware of. So when that mask slips, the universe, God is allowing you to look, even for a few seconds, behind the veil of what is that creature you've been dealing with that has been hiding in that person. So what is the creature behind that person? That event happens for 2, 3, maybe 4 seconds, okay? You're able to see this. So the reason as to why when people, in that particular moment, when the mask slips and you see it, that is mostly the part where you're actually triggered to awaken, okay? So the real empath awakening happens when the mask slips, okay? So when the empath goes through, happens to see that event, that particular event, that means that the universe has actually, your moment of awakening has arrived. There is nobody that I know. If there is somebody in that category, I still pray for them, but there is nobody that I know in my experience. They have experienced a mask slip. They have seen what has been happening behind the veil. They have been able to identify these entities that they've been dealing with, and they have stayed with that narcissist. The only way you see people still in this cognitive dissonance, finding an excuse of, this is my father, okay, so I'm still finding ways to go and ways to move, I don't know how to do this, is because they have not seen that event. Actually, let me repeat this one more time. The only reason you see people are still stuck with narcissists, they are finding excuses. They haven't yet found a place to go. They're still gathering some money to move. That is all cognitive dissonance. It is just because you are finding an excuse because you are scared to leave that person. Maybe you think that they will come after you, or they will torture you, or they will get you off the wheel and you may not be able to get some inheritance from them if it's your father or your mother or whatever. I can guarantee you, for the real empath who has experienced a mask slip, that event is a divine event. You cannot see that creature. You cannot see that entity, and you still have the guts to stay with them for the next 2, 3 days, even 5 days. You are ready to move at that time. You are ready to go. So what I'm saying is, it is only for your eyes, okay? For your eyes only. It is only happening for you. It happens for you because God wants to show you something. It is exactly in that moment when you experience a paradigm shift, okay? So you experience a paradigm shift. You are able. Now, some people have been able to evacuate those situations through our teachings, my teachings and knowledge and wisdom and everything. But there's some people who are still stuck, and I understand. They are still stuck because they think they can wait a little bit. They're still putting money together. They are putting some resources together. They want to find the best way they can move, where they can go. They're adding up all these puzzles and pieces. I would not really blame you because I have made those moves for the last 7 years. Okay, so all this time I was entangled in this situationship. I was planning for the last 7 years to leave. I did not know how to do that. Even sometimes I had the money, but I wouldn't do that because I was not ready. Spiritually, you're not ready. So this is something which, for you to be able to break away from those individuals, you are supposed to be prepared spiritually. Okay, so there is supposed to happen a spiritual event where that mask has got to sleep first of all. If you're able, probably you have these gifts like other empaths do, and you have seen these things manifest in front of you. You have tapped into that world, the hidden world that has always been hidden from you. You have seen these entities. In that particular moment, you will not stay in that house. This is something that I know, and is something that I'm sure of. You will not stay in that house when your eyes have opened and the veil has been lifted. You might even want to go and stay on the street. You are not going to stay in that house, I can guarantee you this. So the only reason why you see people, they are still in this cognitive dissonance, okay? So, the narcissist, and they're still learning, maybe my father's narcissist, my mother's brother's narcissist, sister's narcissist, wife, they are learning and getting more information and everything. Is just because you have not seen it. That is just because you have not yet seen it, okay? Is the only thing I can tell you. So you are actually still in cognitive dissonance. You are still in the bubble, okay? So there's that bubble. You have not yet pierced out of the bubble. And that is why you're having a lot of these thoughts, let me wait, put some money, maybe I need a job, maybe let me wait a bit, my mother's still, my father's sick, the mother's sick, let me stay around, take care of them. That's because that situation. I can guarantee you, ladies and gentlemen, it does not matter how much empathy you have got in your heart. When that mask slips, you're going to live in that night. So I do these videos to prepare you, okay? So for the most of us who have seen it, we don't want you to see it, okay? If you hear us talking about these things, breaking empaths free, this and this, the masses, the demons, narcissists, you have got to know, I am personally protecting you. Probably I may not be able to do that because I've told you this is a divine intervention, it's a divine process. But I try to make you live without actually having to see it, because you're not going to be happy. You're not going to enjoy the sight. It's going to be a very horrible sight. So, in other words, I'm helping you to remove yourself in advance before that event happens. If you're not able to do that, maybe God still wants you to be there. Keep on learning a few lessons, and maybe the time comes and the mask will flip and you'll have that event happen for you. But when you see it, let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, that is when you are going to know what Denzel Moses has been speaking for the last 3 years. So you are going to confirm what I've always been talking about over the years. You are going to know that I was talking about something that I've already seen and I already know. So this video is basically for the ones that are still stuck, okay, with the narcissist. The mask has, not slept yet. There's a lot of cognitive dissonance going on. There's a lot of doubts. You're still doubting yourself. There's, of course, plus the codependency. You're still very strongly dependent on your parents. So you're finding so many excuses to stay around, because that's the only environment you know. They're the only people you have seen for a couple of years, so you're not used to staying away from them. But me personally, because I personally broke away from 2 situations. I personally broke away from of course, the partner, and eventually the narcissistic family dynamic, okay? When the mask slips, ladies and gentlemen, you will know the entities you have been dealing with. And there's no doubt about that. On that particular night, you will go. You will be able to go. You will leave. You may even, I can guarantee you, ladies and gentlemen, you may even leave your properties behind. When the mask has slipped in that particular night, day, whatever, what time it may be, you are going to leave things behind. You are going to leave your shoes. You may even walk out of that house barefooted when that event happens. I can tell you this. That is when you're going to know that the exact entities you've been dealing with for this entire time. So you cannot explain these things to anyone. When this event happens, because like I've told you, it's an event which happens between the victim and the abuser. That event happens, and it has happened for you, okay? It didn't happen to you, it has happened for you. That is first of all. And secondly, nobody is going to believe you. If you have been the black sheep of your family, you are not going to explain this to your parents, sorry, to your family members. Listen, guys, I've seen dad, or I've seen, you're not, actually, you're going to cause a lot of problems. It's the reason as to why we advise the scapegoats, the black sheep who are waking up. When you see this thing, when these things start to happen and you experience this, you keep your mouth shut and you get out of that vicinity, okay, as soon as you can. Because these entities, you are not supposed to see, and you are not supposed to figure them out. You are not supposed to see this. So when you see them and you've unmasked them and you've figured out who they are, it's going to become very dangerous for you, okay? In the next couple of whatever hours, I don't know, days, you don't know what is going to happen. It's very unpredictable. That's why they say that when you have unmasked a narcissist, even the psychologists, they tell you, the people who view it in the psychologist perspective, they are telling you that keep your mouth shut. But you need to run away from that vicinity very quickly. Because now the situation has become intense and it has become extremely difficult. You may get hurt, okay? So those people, those entities may hurt you, okay? Because finally you've figured them out and you know who they are. So they know that they can never do whatever they have always done to you. So it may be very difficult for you, and you may have to run away from that vicinity and get away as far as you can, okay? Nobody is going to believe you. There is no one, it does not matter who that person is, they are not going to believe you. Because if you show them the person that you've seen, they are going to see the same person in 3D that they've always seen before. Oh, I've always seen you with your wife and your husband. I never saw anything, you know. They seem like nice people. They always are putting a smile at work, or they're putting a smile out. You know, when I meet them, they are nice and happy and jolly. So they're going to defend that person. They are not going to believe you. So don't try to explain to people that don't understand. They will not. They have not seen it. That event has happened between you and the narcissist. They will not see it. They have not seen it. They will never see it, most likely. So keep your mouth shut and get away, okay? And get out as far as you can, okay? So the event is a spiritual event. It happens, what do they call it? It happens between two people. Only you can see it. It's for your eyes only, okay? God has chosen you to see this, to awaken, so that God wants to help you understand this thing, okay? So the thing that you've been seeing happening, the tower moment that has been happening between you and the narcissist in those last days, for example, I did a video recently. This has been the 3D way of showing you that this and the person is messed up. You know, you cannot handle this. The person is messed up, you have to go. But when that event fails, for some of us, like maybe a person who is very highly empathetic, and you may sometimes have had your benefits of doubts, and you've been thinking about a lot of things. So if that event has not happened to wake you up, the devaluation and everything, and all these discards and all that, the mask is going to sleep. So the mask is going to sleep is the final blow to the ego, okay? That is when your consciousness will tell you that you finally get it, okay? You finally understand what it is. And you're able to finally reveal and get yourself out of that entanglement. But understand, because I've been there, your brothers will not believe you. Your family will go against you because they are going to say you are the problem, or how can you say things like that? How can you talk about dad like that? How can you talk about mom like that? They will talk about you and they will blast you. They will even attack you because they don't know where you're coming from. So these things are spiritual stuff, okay? So some things you cannot explain to people who are on the very low vibration and the very low frequency. There are some things they will not understand, and do not try too hard to explain because they will not get it. So until then, let me know what you think about the video. Have you seen the mask slip? What was your experience? And who did you tell? Let us know in the comment section below what you think about this. You guys know that I do love and appreciate your support. Book a session, donate or support my channel if you want to. Everything you need, you will find it in the description below. And until then, I'll catch you guys in my next one. Dissonance signing out. Much love and blessings. Peace.